Good afternoon. My name is Jim Conlan, and welcome to the latest edition of Cult Classic TV series, our ongoing documentary where we look at cult classic TV series that have left their mark on the entertainment industry. And our series this month for selection is the one and only Gotham. Obviously, we're all familiar with the Batman sort of universe in terms of Bruce Wayne. It's been going on since the 70s. There have been so many different movie incarnations, so many animated series. But Gotham looks at the origins of a young Bruce Wayne, a young Detective James Gordon, and how the Gotham police force came about, how the rise of all the criminals like the Penguin, Joker, Riddler came about. And I'm delighted to be joined by one of the stars of the show. He appeared in season 4 of Gotham. He appeared in numerous episodes, and he was one of the bosses of the Narrows in Gotham, and he was up against probably one of the primary lead female characters played by Morena Baccarat, who played the role of Dr. Lee Tompkins, the one and only Stu Large, who played the role of Sampson. Stu, Gotham, what a blockbuster TV series. What an adventure, what a role. No stone was left unturned, and it almost felt like it was a TV series that did the movie franchise justice.
Oh man, I'm gonna tell you something. It was an amazing ride. I've been in this industry. I've been blessed to be doing this for over 30 years, and that has definitely been one of the most fun roles to play. Was Sampson, in the Narrows of the show. So yes, iconic show, iconic. I mean, a lot of stars have gone through those doors, and it was just an honor to be chosen to be one of them.
And then Stu, before you actually got the opportunity to be cast as Samson in season 4 of Gotham, had you seen the few of the earlier seasons? Had you it came across your TV screen? Had you actually watched it, thinking to yourself, who knows, maybe someday I'd love to play a bad guy in this or play a role in this TV series? Or was it came to life for you, obviously, when you found out you might be auditioning for the role, or had you been aware of Gotham, let's say?
No, absolutely. And remember, I did season 4.
Yep.
Gotham had been around, Gotham had been around for 4 seasons before that. So
Yep.
definitely knew of the show. And it was a blessing because I happened to be in New York at the time, when the audition came up. So when my agent called me in and said, "Hey, listen, there's something here," I was on it for sure.
And Stu, in terms of the role of Samson, in terms of a crime boss, you mentioned New York, you mentioned Gotham. Were you trying to go in a version of a maybe a Harlem type boss from the type of 70s? Were you thinking in terms of Samson character? Did you want to go down maybe the sort of Capone's type mafioso sort of route, or what was your general understanding of the Samson character and in terms of his personality, in terms of his portraits, in terms of the script that was written to you? What did you feel that you wanted to bring to this character?
Well, through the years, I've played quite a few bad guys, and I never tried to bring the same guy. I did this film you may have seen called Kick Ass.
Yes.
And
Yes.
that bad guy, I got a chance to explore a different side. I'm more tender because I had to work, around my boss.
Mm.
But when this particular character came, I knew it was Gotham. I knew it was a spinoff of Batman. So I wanted to be animated, but not over the top.
Mm.
I never had the opportunity to play one of those guys before. So,
Mm.
even in some of the scenes, you see like it's really like with the voice and the projection and the character. So, I really wanted to bring something different, a place that I hadn't gone to before. And I'm gonna tell you how it worked out. Um, as an artist, as an actor, once you make a decision with your character, even if it's wrong, you hold it through to the end. You stay in character. And at the end of the first episode, I was thinking maybe that was a bit too much.
Mm.
Uh, but the word got back that they loved it. And I'm like, you hear it all the time. Well, you did great. Look, okay, thank you. You know, uh, but the next day or two, I got a call from my manager, and he's like, listen, they want you back for a couple more episodes. So I was like, wow, I guess I did do okay.
So you initially got the role as a one-time appearance in terms of that. So there was no sort of guarantees that it would be a sort of recurring role for you.
Absolutely. It was a one-time role, but it was still a great role.
Mm,
But it was one time, and they were able to write the character in a couple more episodes, and that was definitely a blessing
mm.
because he wasn't supposed to be there.
And Stu, in terms of that, do you feel it was the sort of bond and the sort of chemistry in terms of your character pitted against Moreno's sort of character that led to them wanting to explore that exchange in more detail?
Oh, definitely, that had a lot to do with it. Miranda, she's an amazing talent.
Mm,
I mean, we just worked well together. She was she brought the fire. You don't want to like work with another actor that's bringing it here, and you're just keeping it low. You have to try to match that energy, match that performance. So I knew who she was, and I knew what she had done. And let me tell you something that's funny about that. How this business comes full circle. Her husband, Ben McKenzie, I worked with him years ago on a show called The OC, who
okay.
plays, Ben plays the commissioner on Gotham.
Yeah.
You know?
James
So it was
Falcon.
like, wow, this is a full circle. I mentioned then and I mentioned now. But I'm going to tell you, man, that rock. I'm sad the show ended
Mm.
because I would have loved to go on back and done some more work on that show.
And in terms of that, in terms of Samson's sort of character in the sort of Narrows, it was always sort of left to be explored in terms of where he could have gone in terms of maybe future sort of series if there were in the works. So it was always a character that you felt that we're only just barely beginning to find out about this sort of mysterious sort of character as such. It almost felt like there were so many different elements that in terms of his backstory that we would have loved to have explored.
Oh, I totally agree. Pardon me. I'm going to tell you, Samson. Well, the first episode, he was more of the kingpin.
Mm,
They had to come see him, and you know, he was just a really mean guy. But then when they brought me back, everything about the character had changed. If you notice, he went from the suits,
mm,
to wearing like the big coat, working for Sophia,
mm.
right? So the character had kind of shifted a little bit, but you know, I was definitely with it because they brought the character back, so
Mm.
I was okay with it.
You mentioned that Falcon sort of relationship there, and that was an intriguing aspect as well with Sophia Falcon. And obviously, you could have looked at the links maybe between Sampson and the Falcone business, and maybe looked at maybe the father, Sophia's father, and how maybe Sampson came about under his sort of wing as well, in terms of how he earned his wings, maybe off the Falcone family, in terms of how he came about to get situated.
Right, right, I agree. Pardon me. Need some water. That is a good segue how Samson could have gotten in. You're
Mm,
absolutely correct, through the family, which is why when she came to Samson, right,
yeah.
he was definitely willing because he got sent away.
Mm,
But he knew if he came back, he had to come back with some power,
yeah.
behind him. Because remember, I had the poison antidote,
Yeah.
but I promised to leave if she'd given it to me.
Yeah.
So
That's
I knew
so
she'd
true.
be dangerous. So when I came back, I had to definitely make sure that if I'd stepped foot back in the Narrows, I had some power, and
Mm.
that's what I had.
And Stu, what in terms of production, what was your shooting week? Obviously, you in terms of per episode in Gotham. Obviously, we've seen you on set in terms of the in-house sort of the fight sort of scenes in terms of coming in, interacting with Marina's character. We also seen you out in the streets in terms of that sort of interaction. So I imagine there was maybe in-house stage shoot and maybe that offset location in terms of the street. So was it maybe two scenes that you were working predominantly out of in terms of location wise?
We did the street scene. Where were we at? Were we in Long Island City or Queens or someplace?
Mm.
And then the rest of it was done, in the studio.
Rest of it was done in the studio. And were they long sort of days in terms of that sort of gig? Were you talking per episode? Maybe were you talking a 2 or 3 day sort of stint on the set of Gotham per episode for your character?
Yes, yes, yes. I did the 3 episodes, and yeah, about average about 2 or 3 days per episode of work. But the good thing about it, the days weren't extremely long. Like as within movies, you can be on set 10, 12, 13, 14, 15 hours. You can have some very long days. But this particular show, the director knew exactly what he was going for. And it worked. It just worked. So we were in and out, I don't remember exactly how many hours per day per shoot, but I remember they weren't very long days.
And you, family and loved ones, when you found out those episodes were airing on cable TV across America, was there a real sort of family occasion for you, Stu Large, in terms of your family and loved ones being able to sit down and being able to watch a real popular show all across America? Gotham, each episode, and say I'm appearing on that, and was it a very sort of busy time for you in terms of phone calls, in terms of media opportunities, in terms of the whole shing dazzle when your episode came on air?
Honestly, no.
Mm,
I've been doing this for over 30 years.
mm.
Um, a lot of television shows, number one movies. I've been very, very blessed. Now it's like, oh, hey, I saw you on something last night. Oh, okay, cool.
Mm.
But not like the phone rings. This has been a long journey for me, so everybody's used to it now. You know,
And Stu, in terms of your own character, Sampson, I'm going to ask you probably the hardest question I'm going to ask you now. Let's pretend there was a Gotham encyclopedia, a dictionary of sort, and they left two blank sentences under the synopsis of Sampson. And they asked you, Stu, and they got onto your talent agent, Stu Large, and they said, we want Stu Large to write the synopsis of the character Sampson, having portrayed his role in Gotham. What would you like those two sentences to read?
Ooh, about Samson. Well, Samson was the character was a money hungry, ruthless character. Yeah.
Uh, simple, simple, and to the point, Stu. And I suppose, Stu, maybe for the last 30 seconds, maybe you can share one of your best memories or something that sticks out for you from your time on set of Gotham, and something that you will probably never forget. It might be something so small, like a day on the set, maybe a joke, maybe an interesting sort of
Sure.
story or something like that. Just for the last 30 seconds, something personal to you from your time on the set of Gotham.
Sure. Well, I mean, first of all, it was an honor to work with all of the cast members.
Mm,
I really, really, really enjoyed them, especially the stars. Everybody was very welcoming. There were no attitudes. It was just cool. It was really, really, really a good look.
mm,
But one of my pardon me moments that stand out the most.
mm,
We were filming when they first came up to me. That's the scene where I was in the king's chair and I had the food, and I was eating while I was talking to them. But they didn't, the audience didn't know, but there were bees all around the plate. Bees just humming because the food was fresh food, you know.
yeah.
And to pick up, and I literally almost ate when the camera didn't pick it up, but we had to work through it. And I just remember, I just can't wait until this scene is over. Get me the heck out of here, because it was crazy. But everybody kept their professionalism. Everybody stayed in character. But man, oh man, that was. I'm just happy I didn't get stung. But that scene sticks out the most to me because of that.
There could have been a spin-off movie based on it,
Oh, you
Stu.
never know, right?
Yeah. Stu Large, an absolute pleasure talking to you today to relive your memories of your time on Gotham playing the character Sampson. And Stu, lastly, before we leave you, have you any other projects in the pipeline that are coming out in 2021, maybe towards the end of the year or into 22, that will be gracing on our shores here in Ireland and the UK, that we can look forward to see Stu Large in front of our TV screens and more sort of projects?
Absolutely. I completed a little earlier. Well, it's on IMDb now. I'm just waiting for my credit to get listed. But I just finished a little something with Kevin Hart on Netflix.
Okay.
It's called True Story. So again, it's already on IMDb, so I can talk about it. But yeah, that's my next project coming out. And the pandemic was rough. It slowed a lot of things down. So now we're just trying to get everything back up to speed and just keep going. We've got through things before we get through this, right?
That's so true. Stu Large, a pleasure talking to you. And please, God, we'll get to speak to you sometime in the near future to promote something else. Thanks for taking part in our Gotham documentary. You had a prominent role to play. And for you and your loved ones, stay safe, God bless, and speak to you sometime in the near future. Stu Large, take care.
Thank you so much. The pleasure was all mine.
Cheers. Take care,
Okay.
Stu.